Hey, looks like I'm live, baby. Yes, it's me, the crazy guy. Hey, where's my peoples? Some weirdos. What's going down? What's going down, man? Oi, oi, mate. Well, uh, I was sitting here 60 seconds before the show, just dozing off. Uh, uh, uh. Yeah, I'm worked. I'm worked. I'm running on a couple hours sleep here. Uh, I guess we have sound. Um, I'm gonna assume that everything's working properly. All right. Hey there, Bubber. Come on, Bubber. Can you hear me, Bubber? So you can hear me now. You couldn't hear me last night. Last night sucked. I mean, it was fantastic until I got home and listened to it, and then it was like, oh my god, what happened? Apparently, I screwed the pooch on the sound. Uh, so I'll be making my checklist today. A checklist is going to be very, very important to make sure that the show turns off without a hitch. Bubber, come on, Bubber. What are you doing? Hey, buddy. Hey, hey, buddy. Want to buy a watch? Hey, buddy. Want to buy a dog? Hey, pal. Want to buy a watchdog? Yeah. Okay. So, like I said, I'm whooped. I'm exhausted. I always say this, but I don't expect to be here too long this morning. Because I'm just whooped. And it's hard to find something to talk about when you're so tired. Right? Right? Like, sure, you know. Last night's show was really, really fun. Had I been able to get the sound, it would have been even better. I wish somebody had been watching to tell me, "Hey, man, what's wrong with your sound?" Where was Joey when I needed him, right? Uh, yeah. So the finished product is just bites. Oh, you hear my stomach? Jeez Louise. Golly. But like I said, it was really fun. It was really social. There were new people there. I wish we had recording of their sound. I'm gonna have to. One of my checklist things is going to be to free up one of these guys here for um, recording, so that I can record the show regardless of how it looks on YouTube. Had I recorded the show last night before it had gone to YouTube, I still would have had perfect sound on the recording. But I did not do that. You live, you learn. Like I said, it was very social. I got to meet Linus, the owner of the establishment, the Giant Rock meeting room. Like that coffee there, Bubber. Hey, Bubber. Like that coffee, Bubber. So, uh, and he seemed quite enthused about the whole video thing, and offered to give us better sound, which is really going to help because if I can come right out of his PA and plug into my inputs, and then as long as I jack my inputs correctly into this, then we should have good sound. I was improperly jacked last night. Dude was all jacked up, man. Dude was fucked, man. It was a great show. It was great. It was fun. It was a it was a great test of all the equipment. Hopefully, I'll get that third camera for live to show up once that's happening, and we've got the live video figured out and the live graphics then it will be moving on to the stage and trying to perfect the show. Now, last night, when I left the house, had I had my shit together, I would have brought my lyrics with me. But as it were, I did not. I did not bring my lyrics, and I did not get on stage and sing. I got up and played the drums a little bit. It's great that you can't hear me playing the drums because it's not all that great. Um, and then by the time I got up there, everything was starting to go. Uh, yeah, I can't believe it's the last day of the month of April. The fourth month of the year has been eaten, completely devoured by the end of the day. Wow. Go there, mother. Wow, that's a good microphone, huh? That microphone just gives every little slurp. I wish that I had this microphone hooked up last night. I mean, if all I was going to do was have one mic, it probably should have been this one. Well, I don't know. That other mic was picking up really good. It just never made it to the. It just never made it to the live. It was pretty flicked up. Well, it was pretty darn screwed up. So I'll make a checklist, and then that should solve the problem of improperly jacked sound. Um, but it was a fun test. I had fun in the van doing my video stuff. Bush seemed to have fun chasing around, checking stuff out. It can only get better from here, you know. I I am kind of upset about that whole sound thing, but I try not to focus on the negative. The positive was it was a great video feed. We had great internet speed, even though I was only hotspot off my phone, and it was really, really good signal. Um, so I can't say that it was the signal that diminished the sound so poorly. Um, it must have been the improperly jacked sound mixer that that screwed everything up. Isn't that just a bummer? Isn't it a bummer, bubber? Yeah. Pardon. Uh, well, I think each night that I've been there has been um, successfully better every time. You know, the sound uh, hasn't been great, but then again, the sound is usually my worst enemy. I can usually handle video because most video is going to wind up digital. Pardon me, when the sound goes from analog to digital, um, there tends to be issues, but no excuses. That sound last night was just improperly jacked. It was just improperly jacked. I was properly jacked, but the sound was not. Uh, yeah, last night was probably more, I don't know, for my ego, I guess, because it was just really, really fun to have all of that stuff there and be able to show it off and say, "Hey, check it out! Look what I do, man." Uh, so yeah, I can't wait to get this rolling more positive level. But I got to open my window here so we can see the sun come in. It's just not morning without the sun coming in. Here we go. Dun, 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 dun. Look at this. Go turn on my old Sparky here. What's up, Sparky? Dude, look at that. I got some matches. I'm just gonna light an incense, bruh. Gonna light an incense, bruh. Oh man, I am worked. Last few days, it's just started to catch up with you. Totally. I mean, it's really, really hard to sleep when you got all this stuff going on in your head. I mean, I probably sat up last night for an extra hour just thinking about the sound, right? And then I just had to tell myself, look, make a fucking checklist. That's all you got to do is make a checklist. So I'll get on my Word program here and I'll make a checklist and I'll print out a few copies and I'll put it on a clipboard. And every night that I do a mobile live, I'll have to run through my checklist to make sure that everything is copacetic to avoid major malfunctions such as last night. You know, I'm bummed out about the sound, but overall, everything else about last night was perfect. Everything. It was, I couldn't have asked for a better night. Save the sound, right? Had I gotten great sound, it would have been a perfect night. But other than the sound, it was a perfect night. So on an upbeat, positive thinking level, last night was pretty good. Last night was all right. It was all right, man. It was all right. It was all right. So, man, I had a lot of really great conversations with people, except for Sarah. I never had a chance to hang out and talk to Sarah again. So next time. Uh, but I got to talk to the owner a few times, and he's oh, he played the guitar and sang last night, and I'm so bummed that that is missing because I don't know how often we're gonna get him up on stage, but that was just fucking awesome. He did some great originals and a Johnny Cash song that it all just kind of blended together. You know, he doesn't have a Johnny Cash voice, but he's got a great voice for his music. It was great. It was great. It's fucking great, man. It was awesome. It's totally tits, dude. The choice. It was righteous, man. It was right on the beam, man. Um, so yeah, fucking A. Oh yeah, baby. And I keep thinking of Frank Seralde, right? What's Frank Seralde keeps popping into my head. Anybody familiar with Frank Seralde? Um, Latin American artist. I think maybe from like from Colombia or something, right? Really, really cool 90s music, right? Frank Seralde plays the guitar, does these great songs. In fact, he went from musician to being kind of a TV celebrity for a while. He kept doing these morning shows and popping up, and then all of a sudden they had him there all the time. I was like, well, where the hell's his music? And I don't see his music anymore. So I have to search him out and find out what happened to Frank Seralde. Did he just go right into TV and now he's on TV all the time? Did he do music anymore? I don't know, man. It's really good stuff, though. Well, April is over with only one major outing. Is that correct? We didn't go out and do a whole lot um, this month. It's good because I need my rest, right? But yeah, Saturday, my daughter Natalie and our friend Charlie went and saw. I don't know how, but they found me, and that was really really cool. Yeah. Okay. So the next stuff we have coming up is in June. We've got two shows to go to in June. Charlie is coming back for Los Campesinos. Ah, Los Campesinos. Cool. And then Natalie and I are going to see Motion City Soundtrack. Fucking A. Um, it wasn't until like on the way to, I don't know how, but they found me. And she puts this song on by them And I'm like, hello, why am I not going to see these guys? I mean, it was just fucking yeah. So next time. Next time. Yeah. Because I plan on there being as many next times as I can muster, as no matter how exhausted I get. And then we don't have anything for July yet, I don't think. Huh. What's that? No, we'll have to check it out, you know. But that was number 15 for my daughter. That was concert 15. Well, anyway, 15 for the since 2021, right? Man, I thought I'd seen a lot of concerts. She's putting me to shame. She really is. That's awesome. Yeah. And then after Motion City Soundtrack, The Killers, and then ELO. I don't have ELO here. I gotta update my calendar of events here and add in ELO and whatever else she's scraped up because she keeps. It's like every month she buys another concert, and it's like we wind up going to like taking her out like once a month to go to a show. She earns it. She busts her ass at college. She's just about done. Oh, here comes that sun. Yeah, live. It's challenging. Last night it was daunting. I mean, I didn't get out of here until God 5:30, right? And it was almost 5:30 by the time I got from here to Arby's and then out there. It had to be around 5 because he called me like at about 5:30. Like, what's going on? Oh yeah. If I'm late, I'm right on time, man. If I'm on time, then I'm early. It's totally it. It's all there is to it, man. Uh, yeah. Anyway, these morning shows on Tuesdays, they're probably going to be a lot like this. Um, Only because everything's still packed into the fucking van. You know, I'm going to be going through the van most of the evening, straightening shit out so that, oh man, I got to come up with some kind of not just a checklist of to make sure that everything is set up properly, ready to go for live, but uh, a way to break everything down and organize it so that it's easy to just put it all away and then bring it all out again, and then put it all away and then bring it all out again, right? Something that's, I don't know, I don't know. The cables, the HDMI cables. I love cables because they're direct, they're hard line, they're hardwired. Um, you don't have any Wi-Fi glitching. Unfortunately, I'm probably going to buy a little 4-pack or 6-pack or something of those little HDMI wireless nodes. Plug one in here, plug one in here, no wires in between, right? So at some point, that is going to have to be the issue, the deal, so that um, it just makes things easier to set up. You know, I mean, literally set the cameras out, plug their freaking nodes in, put the cameras on tripods, give them a power, and they're ready to go. No cables, no laying out cables, stringing cables, no wrapping up cables at the end of the night. God, that was horrible. I got home and my hands were black from all that dirt and dust and stuff. Mm. No, Bubber, I don't want to do that again, Bubber. And I was too far when I tried to put the van out on the street to block the sound, but it just put me so far away from all of my equipment that yeah, I mean it was crazy. I mean, I'd have to like jump out of the van and run over here and do this and then run back into the van and check. And if I could have just, you know, I could have had a camera right outside the van door had I been parked on the side. I could have been right there. Just walk out, boom, boom, boom. It's going to have to be three cameras: one left, one right, one center. The only bummer about the center is we got that post. If you watch any of the video, you notice the post right in the middle of the stage. But he's got a big concrete pad out back. He's got an indoor stage thing going on. He's got a lot of room there. So we may wind up moving this open mic thing to a better location on the property, which would probably benefit us. If, in fact, if we could move to behind the building, Linus, if you're watching, behind the building is going to block all of that traffic sound. If we move in the building, it's going to block all that traffic sound. Now, I don't want to go in the bar. That's just too tight. That other guy did it, and it was just a nightmare. Um, but if we can harness some other chunk of the property there and work with it, that'd be great. Also, Linus wants to get into doing radio, right? He wants to get into doing not like a radio show, but an actual radio station, um, like to broadcast live over the airwaves in our local area, right? And he's talking about getting one of those cargo trailers, cargo containers, and parking it and putting a studio in it. And then up on the hill behind him, putting a big transmitter, right? And if we if he can talk himself into this, right? I already told him, look, I'm your DJ. If you need a DJ, I will actually do DJ stuff, right? Not, I'm gonna go zooga zooga and mix and sit up there and go, hey, baby, what's up? No, I'm not gonna do like a rave DJ. I'm gonna do an actual disc jockey from the '70s. Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, live from the studio here. We're gonna play some vinyl and we're gonna spin it for you fast. I want to do some shit. It's like some real old school shit. You know, enough of this fucking around. Yeah. So I might just finish my coffee and crawl back into bed. You know. Oh, right. I got to go to the dentist today. Dentist, the dentist, the dentist, Denison's Denison's chili. No. So yeah, my drums didn't get a lot of play last night. My guitar did though. Marco was just fantastic on my guitar. So um, let's see. Let's go to YouTube and let's see if we can find Marco. Right. Ooh, there's Edie Brickell again. She's so cute. She's so cute. Okay. Marco. Let's see. It was Rose in stereo or and stereo. Let's go in stereo because that sounds stereo. Rose in stereo. Let's see. No. Jerry. Jerry Mungo. Okay. Okay. So let's go Rose and stereo. And let's see what that does. Boogity 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 boogity. Okay. Whoop whoop whoop. Mm-hmm. I'm not getting anything here. I'm gonna have to look it up and Google it. I'm gonna have to Google it. Bugle. Yeah, I have to get into that later. But Marco was there last night, and he was the bass player and road manager for Rose and Stereo. And he was really good. He just got up and he played my acoustic guitar, yay! And he played it very, very well. And he did a bunch of his originals. Really good guitar playing for a bass player. I don't know. Pardon me. It was really, really fun. Really good stuff. And then at the end there, they played a little bit of what was that, Beatles or something? Or shit, I don't remember. I know, I just remember a bunch of guys got up on stage there and they was jamming. So that's kind of how we'd like every evening to end. Would be getting them getting a bunch of them dudes and guys and gals up on stage to do some jamming, right? Um, yeah, so we had a couple of guitars. Both my guitars got used. My drums got used. The keyboards did not get used. The bass guitar did not get used. So I think first and foremost, once we get the video and the sound perfect, it's going to be to get into set designing because I want the stage, wherever the stage is, out front, out back, inside, wherever the stage is, I want it to be dressed appropriately uh, for well for my period, right? The 70s, the 80s. Bush and I are already talking about getting a couple of tube TVs and parking them out there on stage and running some video through it, some camera, uh, and to try to give us some more flash and bang, right? Some more excitement. Right. So that should be very cool. So I'm excited about that. I'm real excited about last. I mean, you don't know what it's like to sit in your van with those inside lights on, right? And and the screens all lit up and all of that video coming in, you know, being able to go from screen to screen. Oh, that's so cool, man. I was in drama class and I never got to build any sets because we did those plays where it was like, we're gonna imagine like this is going on. It was all weird shit. But the most I got to do was make a costume so that I was a super pickle. That was it. Um, when I was with my father going to UCSD, now that was fun. I got to go into the props department. I got to go into these big giant rooms, warehouse rooms with just, I mean, a series of walls. Like I said, we got wood paneling walls, we got like drywall walls, we got like stucco walls, we got like all this furniture, lamps and lights and couches and tables and it was like you get to go in there. It's like, ooh, I want that, I want that, I want that. And it was just so fun to go into this big giant warehouse and pick out stuff to design the set, you know. In fact, one of the things that my father did was I don't know what the uh, the requirement for the project was, but I think it was you had to do a parody of a TV show, right? So he did a parody of um, The Honeymooners with Jackie Gleason, right? Art Carney. So he wrote this little short Honeymooners episode, and then uh, he got my brother to play Norton. I had to play Ralph Cramden, and my sister played Alice, right? And it was ridiculous. But the neat thing about it was that I got to go into the prop department and pick out everything to recreate the honeymooners set, the walls, the door, the window, um, the table, the dresser. I mean, everything was there. All of the elements were there, and on camera in black and white, it totally looked like the honeymooners set. It was bitchin'. I loved that. So set design. Um, you see a lot of those YouTube live feeds at open mic nights and bars and stuff. and it's like usually like a one camera pointing at the bar from up on high so the drunks can't knock it over. Uh, and sometimes the stage looks really cool because I got a lot of instruments and posters and stuff and things going on, but it feels like a stage. And what I want is to have a stage that feels like my living room, right? I want it to feel like when you get up on stage, you can sit down in a big, oversized, comfy chair with no arms and just sit back and play the guitar, right? And stay there all freaking night if you want to. Get people up on stage who are like, okay, he's next. He can go sit up on stage and sit there. And then we just, this guy sits down and this guy stands up and try to make it so that more of an open mic. It's kind of like just a bunch of people hanging out, right? And if we can get that feeling, that vibe, I think it's going to attract a lot more people. And then if we can project that vibe onto video, so when you're looking at this, you're going, "Wow, man, we're just hanging out in somebody's living room, right?" I mean, how cool is that going to be? A little lamp, a couple of chairs, an end table, maybe a little sofa, and then all of that in the background, and then some musical instruments kind of mixed in between, you know. It just seems like it would be more aesthetically pleasing. It would be more. I would have more of an emotional connection to the stage, right? I think I would feel more comfortable getting up on stage and playing my music if it felt like I wasn't on a stage, right? And I know that a lot of those guys that get up there really thrive on, I'm going to be on stage, you know? And I don't get that. I don't get that at all. I get nerves. I get scared. I get fidgety. I lose my voice. I lose my lyrics. I really wanted to get up and play last night because there were so many opportunities, and I just didn't have my lyrics. And I kept thinking, well, what's the first word? I was sitting there for like 15 minutes trying to think of the first word to one of my songs, and I nothing, not a damn thing. So I did not want to get up and go through that without lyrics. Just wouldn't work. How you doing, baby? Big Joe. Big Joe. How are you, Big Joe? Yeah. What a day. What a day yesterday was. I mean, no wedgie, no wedgie. It was just really awesome. I had a fun time doing my morning show yesterday because I had been away so long. I miss just sitting here rambling, you know. It's the only time where I just get to blah blah blah. Uh, my wife, my daughter, she's always busy with schoolwork and her own world and her own youth, right? Uh, so I don't get to just sit blah 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 blah, blah at her. And I wouldn't do that to her. I mean, that's just mean. Sit here, child, and let me be parent, and let me talk, and let me do adult, and let me. I don't do that. I hated that when I was a kid, and my dad would sit me down and want to have a talk, and it was usually bullshit, right? Do as I say, not as I do, kind of stuff. Are you okay? Are you okay, big pussy? Oh, poor little girl. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Big old dog. Big old dog. Hmm. Yeah. Ah. And then my wife, I mean, I wouldn't sit and torture her. I mean, she's had to listen to me for 25 years. She's heard everything I've had to say more than once. So, I try to find new people to talk to, hence YouTube. Um, on any given day, somebody new might show up and go, "What the fuck is he talking about? Oh my God, who's this guy?" I can dig it. It's totally cool because, like one out of every 100 people that stop by are going to go, "Oh, right. Okay, I get it. This dude's just a fucking crazy old weird bearded guy." Hence the name. Yeah. Yeah. I'm really, really, like, totally, really, really, really excited, Uh, it's just, uh, I've found myself smoking a whole lot less marijuana lately. Um, I get up in the mornings now and I'm like, you know, between now when I wake up and when I might take a nap or go to work, either one, I may do just like a half a dozen hits, right? Um, and that's a big difference for me. Considering that I do it for the pain. Uh, and I'm just getting used to the pain, I guess. I mean, pain is something that we can all get used to. We get used to pain pretty much our entire lives, so that by the time we die, those who have actually lived life have been through considerable amounts of pain. Those people who have been pampered through life and don't know what the fuck pain is about. Yeah. So, uh, how can you tell me what I don't know what pain is? And if you're walking out of your fucking mansion, getting into your limousine, you don't know fucking pain. You know, the pain of being in a different tax bracket. You don't know real pain. I was listening to Bush on stage last night before his PA kicked him off the air. He was on a tirade about suicide, and suicide prevention and a suicide allowance. Really, I mean, and I understand suicide, being someone who has suffered his entire life from depression, someone who has attempted to off himself on a number of occasions, unsuccessfully, unsuccessful attempts, mainly because my attempts were were pretty bogus attempts. I mean, it was really, a cry for help. Stepping out in front of a bus, trying to slash yourself up with a sharp knife. Um, or putting yourself in situations where somebody could come along and just off you, right? And then it's not your problem. Uh, I've even been, I've even been uh, at gunpoint from several police officers in Arizona who thought that I was trying to do a suicide by cop, which was far from the truth. I just had a hammer in my hand because I was breaking up my ex-girlfriend's jewelry on the front porch. And everything else that I had bought for her. That's what you do when you're in your teens and your 20s, right? Uh, you overact, and I should have just underacted and just walked out. Uh, but yeah, I've been in a few hairy situations that I have put myself in because I figure, I want to check out, but I don't want to check me out. So I'll let somebody else check me out. Hey, fuck you. Check me out, motherfucker. Come on, check me out. I still find myself doing that on occasion where I just, somebody will push me to the brink and uh, I will allow them to control my emotions. And then it's like, you know what? Come on. I don't give a fuck. You know, at this point, I don't care. You know, I have such a short amount of time left, the prison or the fucking morgue. You pick one and I'll take the other. I don't give a fuck at this point, because at this point, if I get into a major physical altercation with somebody, I'm not holding back anymore. I mean, if you're going to come at me to try to hurt me, I'm going to go after you to try and fucking kill you. That's it. That's all there is to it. And I'm not pussyfooting around about it. You want to pick a fight? Prepare to fucking die. That's all there is to it, you know? And I'm not a mean guy, but I won't be pushed. I just won't. I've been bullied my whole life. And if you want to try to come and bully me again, you better put your big boy fucking pants on and put your bully pants away because it's going to get fucking serious real fucking quick. Oh, what's he going to do, little scrawny old fucking dude? Yeah, you'd be surprised what us little scrawny old fucking dudes can do. We're pretty fast. Um, and we know a lot because we're old dudes, right? And, I mean, it don't matter who you are. Everybody can fall. Everybody can get knocked the fuck down, right? And I'm at the point where I just don't give a fuck anymore. You're gonna push me, you know? Um, you better push fucking hard, and you better duck. When I go out in the world, I'm the nicest guy you can ever fucking meet until you push past me with your phone in your hand and go, "Sorry, I gotta reach for this, and I'm gonna do it right in front of your face." Then I'm not so much the nicest guy in the world. Then I'm the guy that you don't want to run into. I become that person. So, you know, if you see me out in the world, I'm gonna smile and wave, right? And if you poke me in the fucking eye with your finger, um, you're gonna pull back a stump. If you bump into me at the supermarket intentionally, just so you can say sorry and reach past me, I'm gonna follow you around and scream sorry in your ear, or keep bumping into you, or just flat out say, "Hey, you're a fucking asshole," you know? And then I don't have to be burdened with that shit anymore. I don't have to carry that around with me, man, because it builds up on you. When you let shit slide, it's like water off a duck's back, man. It ain't. It pools up somewhere, and eventually you're gonna step in that fucking puddle and get just soaked. So no, I don't make puddles. I drain that fucking shit every time. No, I just let it out and be done with it, you know. And then I can just be the happy, carefree guy that I am. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah. Wow. My my room here is gonna need some. I don't know. It needs some new. I think I'm gonna get rid of this cabinet here. This whole thing here. I think I'm gonna go down to one unit that's small that holds it all. Uh, and then maybe hang some plants. Right. I don't know. I don't know. My house is not big. It's a tiny little shack. It's just a mobile home. I mean, what you're looking at is like a quarter of this front room here. It's it's freaking small. So not much I can do with it, basically. You can't, there's no walls to put anything up against because all my walls already have stuff up against them. So that's kind of a bummer. Um, do I want to move into a bigger house? No, no, because a bigger house comes with bigger responsibilities. And that's not my bag. I'm not going to spend my life worrying about how much money I need to give to people. That's not my world. I mean, it's a lot of other people's world, but it ain't mine. I do as little in life as possible having to do with money, right? How you do that? Your money's you gotta do money. Yeah, fuck you. I just don't. No. Uh, how much money do we need? Okay, that's how much money we're gonna make. You know, do we need that? Well, then let's not fucking spend money on it. What the fuck is the point? You know, we got extra money, great, save it up. You know, well, we need to get something. We have any money saved up? We do, great. You know, I try not to wrap my whole life around how much money comes in and goes out, right? Mainly because I spent enough time doing that. My whole childhood was all about the lack of money, and I never wanted to do that to my daughter, right? Even though we never had much, she always had everything she needed. You know, if she needed something, we just get some extra work. You know, we don't need anything extra, anything special. Well, great, then we got more time to spend together, right? I never liked locking myself into a position, a job where it required more time of me than my family was going to get, right? Um, so I'm going to get married, right, and have a kid, and then never see them, right? And then both of us are going to work, and we're going to send our kid to the babysitter just so that we can have more money to pay for more crap that we don't really need. We've proven over the last 25 years that we don't need much. If we want something, well, because we don't need much, we go and get it if we want it, you know? Shit, my wife wants to go get a new car, so she'll just save up the money. She hasn't got it saved already, right? And we don't have monthly payments then. We don't have monthly payments on shit. We pay rent. That's it. You know, if I could do it so we were just paying like a mortgage, it would be a minimal mortgage because I wouldn't be buying a huge house. I'd probably be buying another shack and then just fixing it up. But yeah, no, I'm not going to spend my whole life, especially since I've spent most of my life already, having to deal with money grubbers. I'm not going to do that anymore. Yeah, I'd rather live in a ditch, really, than to think that my life is, about collecting pieces of gold to pass out to other people, and then sit there and go, well, look, I got 3 pieces left for me. Isn't that great? Maybe I'll eat this month for the whole month. I most of my places of employment were restaurants, right? So that I could eat and not only pay my bills, but actually eat every day, right? I never ate at school because I never had the fucking money to actually eat lunch at school, so I didn't eat breakfast or lunch at school, and if I was lucky, there was dinner when I got home. If I was real lucky, we had food to eat over the weekend, right? Uh, My parents were never really into doing the school lunch program, made them look bad. So, Mm. so I went hungry so they didn't look bad. Uh, yeah. So I really enjoyed working at places that made food, that had food, that sold food, mainly so that I could eat, right? I mean, probably half of the probably most of the jobs I had into my 30s. If I wasn't painting or in construction, I was in food. Um, yeah, I did a lot of cooking, a lot of fry cook stuff, short order cook basically. Burgers and sandwiches and eggs and bacon and that kind of crap, potatoes. That was, that was cool. I did a lot of that stuff so I could eat, and not only that, so I could bring food home. It was really neat to be able to get up the next day and have some leftovers to eat. I never knew leftovers when I was growing up. There were never leftovers. Where do you put leftovers when you don't have a fridge, right? You put them in Robert so that you don't have to worry about leftovers. My brother, he's like my daughter. He's got like a hollow legs, right? My daughter. She's almost 20. She's 19, and she's got two hollow legs, and she just puts the food away. You know, at at her age, if I ate as much and as often as she does, I would just be huge. I'd be freaking rotund, right? Um, yeah. So she's got metabolism that's better than mine. She's never been overweight at all. She's never had an ounce of fat on her, right? She's actually really healthy. And uh, for no help from us, actually, she's kind of her own person. She's always been her own person, and she's always decided to take the better path when it comes to nutrition. Mainly, I guess, because she can look at me and go, "Oh, I don't want to wind up like that. Look at him, that old fart with bad teeth and bald hair and rickets and piles and whatever else." Um, yeah, she does not have much of my eating and health issues, which is pretty cool, because by the time I had been her age, by the time I was her age, I had been fat and skinny, fat and skinny, fat and skinny like a half dozen times. Um, and I always wound up going back to being overweight, you know. Even now, I'm only 180 pounds, which is 5 pounds below my average weight, right? And I still feel fat, right? I still feel like I've got a paunched belly, and mainly because it's just decades of depression and living with that spare tire, right? And not exercising it enough. I mean, I haven't exercised regularly since I was in my 30s, since my wife and I first got married, and we used to go to the gym all the time. Because you get in that period, that phase in your life where you want to be healthy. And I did a few phases like that in my life, where I got into that health kick. I never got muscular, right? Um, but I got really, really healthy and fit. I remember in my late teens, I was into bicycling. I was in Elsinore. It was easy to get around on a bike. You just drive out and you just keep making lefts and you drive around the lake. You go out this way and you keep making rights and you drive around the lake, right? So you just keep going around. And then the major highways were always paralleled by these back roads because it used to all be back roads back then. So I would spend a lot of time on my little 10 speed, 16 speed. It was a really, really nice bike that I think I got from the swap meet. Uh, and I rode the hell out of that bike. I would put, 10, 15, 20 miles on it, just cruising around, just cruising around. And so I went through these health phases where I would be on the bike and I'd be driving around and I wouldn't be smoking cigarettes and I wouldn't be smoking weed and I wouldn't be drinking. And then I'd get to a depressive point and I would just say, "Oh, fuck it. I want to get loaded. Fuck this bike. Fucking piece of shit." I remember one time I was just cruising down the road on my bike and some assholes went by and threw an orange at me, right? Hit me right in the middle of my back. That really soured me on riding my bike. Um, it was like, all I'm doing is riding a bike and I'm getting bullied, you know? And it was like, no matter what I do, no matter where I go, here comes some fucking bully. And I stopped my bike so quick and got off and found that fucking thing and threw it down the road at him. What else am I gonna do? And all I could do was stand there like this, saying, "Come on, fuckers," you know. Um, I've taken on the fucking football team, motherfuckers. Come on. I don't give a fuck. You know, I don't give a fuck. Come on. Yeah. 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 Sometimes I look back at little pieces of my life as a kid and back in high school, especially in junior high. And My life should have been a fucking TV series. Should have been a movie, right? There should have been movies made about the different shit that I've gone through from a little kid on up into my 20s and 30s, right? Yeah, there's just been like this period here. Oh, this would make a great movie. Oh, this couple of weeks here. Oh, this day. It's like you take a couple of elements from different parts of that period, and you got a great freaking scenario. You got a plot that just fucking kills. I gotta warm this up again. I gotta have shirt said something about aliens. No signs of life. No signs of intelligent life anywhere. And of course, there's an alien on the planet here going, oh my God. Right. No wedgie, no wedgie. Right. I've been thinking about this whole morning show, and essentially it's this, right? It's it's this. Um, and I think that I've been trying to put too much into building up this and giving this a whole lot of flash when it's just this. It's just me sitting here talking. And on occasion, I want to be able to play some things and share some things with you, slideshows and old radio shows. But is that really what I want this show to be about, right? Do I want to come back on Friday night and do a live show where I actually share stuff with you? Uh, do I want to do a Wednesday night or a Thursday? If I do Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at night at 5, right? Then why would I need to do any of that here in the morning, right? I mean, essentially, I want these recordings, this playlist, these episodes, these seasons to be for my daughter, right? Um, and I just want to be around after I'm not, so to speak. So at some point, not only will I have all of this here on YouTube, but I'll also have it um, on DVD and on hard drive filed away, and then keep upgrading to the next form of memory saving device. I don't know what that's going to be. I mean, before it was little thumb drives. Before that, it was little, you know, zip drives and floppies and 3x5s and all these other little things, DAT tapes. But now we've got these external hard drives, and we've got the cloud, and we've got all of these things. But I don't want it to be in a cloud somewhere, right? I don't want it to be completely reliant upon YouTube for saving all of this stuff, uh, which means it has to all eventually be transferred to an external memory from YouTube, an external memory from my computer. Uh, it's going to have to get saved in a manner that you know for posterity it's there. Eventually, what I'd like to do is have some kind of electronic frame, TV screen, so to speak, where everything that I've done is loaded into one memory, because that should be possible at some point. But everything should be loaded, and then that monitor, that screen, that picture frame should be able to play anything on there randomly or at the touch of a button, or say, hey, play this file, right? Play this date or whatever. So that when I'm not around, there's something of me still around, right? Just a picture frame over on the wall, and I'm there, and you can turn up the volume on it, or you can just leave the volume down and just watch me, do my thing. Uh, Beyond that, what would be neat would be to take everything that I've ever done on YouTube, because there's a lot of me, and compile it to create an AI. And I'd have to find somebody to work with, right? Hey, you guys at Columbia University, give me a call, man. We'll, you know, we'll create a really cool AI of me. So, um, that, yeah, yeah, I'm telling you, I am wiped the freaking hell out. Oh, check out this book. So I'm a really big Robert Heinlein fan. And when we were out in Pomona the other night, I picked up this great book. So, isn't that just some fantastic looking graphics on the front of this thing? That lettering, Robert A. Heinlein. I mean, it's just those letters just are freaking awesome. That silver backed by red and then backed by white, and that red is like a really nice, you know, ketchup red almost. It's just really. And so I saw this, and it was a first soft cover edition for $7. And I thought, okay, this one is going to go in my. I've got a small print paperback that's a little fatter than this one. The Heinlein universe, and it's gone through some changes because this is an early version, and I believe he wrote a bunch of stuff after this, and this is 1980, so yeah, I think he did write a few things after this. But I mean, it literally starts from his 1939, right? One of his earliest stories, on through 75, 76. Uh, and these are some great, and he's got a great list of books and novels that he's written. Big Dog. In fact, it's these lists. You see that the two columns of lists there is of his books. I used to find his books and then go to that list and like, okay, I got to get this book, and I get on it and I write out all of the books that I could before the internet. Okay, um, that big dog in her face. So before the internet, it was the library, and I would just go into the library and I would just grab a book and I'd open it up, and I rather than like going to find. Um, Especially trying to talk to somebody, I was more into doing things myself. Um, how does that sound? Oh yeah. That, do you feel better now, Big Face? So I used to grab these books, and I would just go through and I would jot down. Okay, I've never heard of that one before. And then I would keep that list with me, and I would go to used bookstores. And I remember there was this bookstore in Temecula, in the old new Rancho California area. And that place has been developed and redeveloped so many times. But there was this old bookstore, and I would stop by there, um, almost religiously. It was like I was homeless. I was living in my MGB, a little British car, not a midget. It's a little bit bigger than the midget. You need to go outside? Is that what you want? Let me get up here. Come on. What do you want to do? So I was homeless, living in this little car, and I would pull my tent out and set up my tent every night in a field somewhere in Temecula. Um, and then during the day, I would just pack everything up, go to a fast food restaurant, get cleaned up, and then spend the day walking around town collecting recyclable cans and bottles, right? Whatever I could find to make a buck. I would also do some dumpster diving because there were a lot of shops, malls, and stuff. So behind the strip malls, there were always things uh, to find of use. I wasn't into finding things to collect or things to sell because I didn't have the means. I was homeless. So if it was something I could use, um, then otherwise I would take it and I would just kind of set it aside for the next person to come along. Um, but yeah, we did collecting of aluminum cans there in Temecula. But yeah, being being homeless for a time, uh, that was kind of neat. I enjoyed that. I mean, literally. I mean, it was neat. It was an adventure. It was one of those things that another my life should have been a TV series. Because that was a hell of a season there. And I would spend entire seasons, a half a season living with this family, half a season living with that family. I mean, there were so many seasons to this TV series that was my life, you know. Uh, and however you want to do it, start me as a teenager and use all of my early stuff as flashback fodder for upcoming episodes. I mean, however you want to do it, there's a lot of shit there, you know. In fact, when I started writing if my life as a TV show, I came up with 3 episodes from the beginning, and it pretty much started in junior high. And by the third episode was a flashback, you know, to like 5 years before that. So yeah, there are a lot of things that in my life that really could be entertaining, especially in today's market, because there's so there's so many directions, right, that people want to go, and they'll go anywhere you want to take them now. So if you have a show that's a vehicle to pretty much go anywhere, it's a hit, you know. Uh, yeah, my good old life. Well, I've enjoyed it. The good, the bad, the ugly. It's all been one hell of a ride. There have been periods of my life, of course, where I've just wanted to go, and thankfully, I never did, because I would not have had the opportunity to meet my beautiful daughter and my wonderful wife. So, uh, and thankfully, after we all met at some point, it just became easier to not think like that, right? And now I'm at the point where it might work for other people, but that's just not going to work. I'm not for checking out early. I got such a short amount of time left that checking out early is not an option because that does not leave me the time to do the things that I need to do before then. So uh, it ain't going to last a whole lot of time. I mean, look, this year just started and the fourth month is over, right? So it's not like it's going to feel like a lot of time because it ain't. It's going to feel very, very short no matter how I look at it. So Uh, I got to do as much as possible while I can, you know, and it shows in my freaking schedules because I am not a guy that will go out once a week at night to do something. I'm not. I am not that guy. I never was that guy. I don't bowl. I don't play poker. I don't go out drinking with the guys. I'm not a regular moviegoer. We don't have a date night, right? I am just not a going out kind of person. And yet I find myself going out once or twice every week now at night during the time that I would normally be sitting in bed watching TV for 3 or 4 hours, right? So my life has drastically changed. And it's YouTube's fault, damn it. Uh, and my own hubris, my own penchant for fucking about on video. You know, that's just the way it is. That's just the, it's just the way it is, baby. It's just the way it is. Oh, oh, here, number two or three. I think it's two. No, I think it's three. No, who cares, right? I don't. Well, there's a regular sound on the morning show here. Slurping coffee and bong hits, right? I mean, those are like the sounds of my life. So it was really neat talking with everyone last night. You know, I wish I had more to show for it. I keep going back to that, kicking myself for not having done a sound check, which is another thing. By 6:30, we got to be doing a sound test. That's all there is to it. Video, sound. Does everything work? Everything good? All right. All right. Let's cancel out. Let's go to the show. But I had fun talking to everyone, especially the owner Linus. You know, offered to comp me on food and drink, right? And I had already just gone to Arby's, and I'm not a regular pizza eater. Um, and they do great pizza there, but I'm just not a regular pizza. Maybe if I bring my daughter or wife or something, then I'll say, "Yeah, hook us up with some chow, baby." Um, but I'm always good for a Coke. Give me a Coke and some ice, man. Give me a bottle of Coke. Totally. But that was really, really awesome. And and it's after everybody's seeing all of this equipment and hoopla and fanfare around all of this shit that I'm doing. A van packed full of shit just keeps coming out, right? And they're like looking at my business card, right? Going, "This is a hobby." Yeah, it's just a hobby, man. It's just a fucking hobby. Oh, sure, it would be nice if at some point it was a hobby that was like paying for itself. But I know that as soon as the whole idea of money gets involved, it just fucks everything up. Like even with the tips, right? There's a tip jar out there. Um, I don't even want anything to do with that because then it requires something of me, right? Now I have to be responsible for those pieces of gold that have been uh, bequeathed to me. No, I didn't even fucking go there. I get more out of this than I really enjoy painting, house painting, fixing things, home repair, that kind of thing, right? And when I did it full time as work, as a handyman, working for myself, I enjoyed it up to a point. But it got to the point where money was always the main concern with everyone, right? And it just became such a burden to have to deal with that whole money issue because I was always like, yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah, don't I? I'm not going to try to come up with a bid for this. You want to pay me hourly? That's fine. I'm going to cut you a great deal hourly. If we bid this thing, it's going to cost you a lot of money, and I'm going to feel like I'm ripping you off, and I don't even want to fucking go there, right? And I would get to the point doing handyman shit where I just, you know what? Fuck it. I'm done. I'm done trying to please other people just so they can con me out of a few bucks so they can feel like they made a deal. It's like, you know what? I'm already giving you a deal. Give me a break, you know? And so I don't want this whole video thing to go in that direction. If we get to a point where there's compensation involved, well, then compensate me. But I'm not going to write up a fucking bill. Right? I'm not going to say, well, I did this and I did this and I put in this many hours and this, because if I did that, then I did it because I wanted to, because I'm having fun, not because I'm looking to make a fucking piece of fucking gold, right? That's just not in me anymore, right? I can't spend the rest of my life, you know, beholden to a fucking banknote. Ugh. So yeah, if I do something for somebody or with somebody or collaborate, you know, if you feel the need, the urge to compensate me somehow. Feel free to do it however you want. I like t-shirts, I like hats, I like food. I smoke pot. I've been known to have a drink on occasion. There are I like records and tapes and old things. Take a look at me in my life. If you feel like you need to compensate me for something, then just say, "Oh, look, I found this at the thrift shop and I thought it was you." You know, I'm on cloud nine. It cost you $2. I feel like somebody just handed me a piece of, a magic lamp, right? Whoo! I can go into the past with this. Whoo, whoo, thank you. You know? Uh, so for me, compensation is not about geekus spread dineros, it's about a feel good moment. When I share a video that I made with someone, and I get that happy face or that, oh my God, that is so fucking cool. That is payment. Right? It's like payment into my soul, right? That's all I need. That's all I require. If you feel like it's within you that you need to compensate me somehow, then go for it. Compensate me with a hug. Let's blaze a doobie together. You know, um, let's do something else together. You know, shit. I don't know. I'm not gonna. I'm just not gonna go there anymore. Of course, I can't keep sinking money into this like uh like it's gonna go somewhere. 'Cause it's not, you know? At least I don't see it going someplace that other people would see it going, I mean, I've already got people who talk to me about, you wanna get some backers and people to produce you and promote you, and you wanna get somebody that you can, promote their logos and stuff, and it's like, no, you know? Because at some point, they're gonna require me to not be me anymore, right? And, I'm over that. I don't go there anymore. I'm me from here on out. You like it or not, I'm me. I gotta be me, baby. That sun just cranking in there right now so early. I remember just a few short months ago, and I know what you and it was dark till like forever. It was still pitch black out right now. A few months ago, and of course we're getting just about into summer now. Um, oh, my legs and feet just keep cramping up. Man, uh, you know what? Living a depressive life. suffering from depression and shit. I've lived a sedentary life. I haven't done a whole lot of moving, especially during my periods of depression, which can last, 5, 10 years. Some people are like um, months in bed. Sometimes I'm like years. I've lost entire decades of my life to depression. First months, weeks and months at a time, and then months and years, and then years that just go on forever, where you get up, you function, you put on that happy face, you go to work, you come home, you crawl into bed, you pull the blankets up over your face, and you just say, fuck it. And then you get up again the next day and you just, you bite your lip and you do it because that's what is required of you. And you don't know anything else. And you're not allowed to think about anything else because if you do, it just makes you feel worse, you know? So yeah, I don't ever want to go back to that. You know, I can't. It'll kill me if I try to do that again. Uh, the last time I worked for somebody, it was a freaking nightmare. It was a nightmare. I jumped through every fucking hoop in the world to get this job just so that I could commute 45 minutes every day to work, just down in the desert, and just so that I could bust my ass every day for a pittance of what I could earn on my own, right? Just so that I could have that steady work. And by the end of the only month that I was there, I mean, it was literally, um, I wasn't even there long enough to be on payroll, right? I had to wait 3 weeks to get, and I was out of there in the fourth week, you know. And it was mainly because I could not deal with people who wanted me to cut corners, and I could not deal with people who wouldn't just let me work and get shit done right, you know? And over the shoulder people, "What's taking you so long? How come well, if you don't know what you're doing, how could you come behind me and tell me how to do what I'm doing when you have no fucking clue what's going on? That's why I'm here. You brought me here to do a job. This is how the job needs to be done. Let me do the job this way. That's why you brought me here. If you don't want me to do that, get somebody who will do quick ass, sloppy, shitty work, so that you guys could have your schedules and so that we can keep coming back to this and coming back to this and coming back to this. I like to finish something, get it done, and never have to come back to it again unless somebody fucking breaks it and screws it up. And when I do shit, it's really hard to break it and screw it up afterwards. I try to make shit bulletproof, mainly because people are stupid and they will just grab shit and, like a kid in a Tonka truck. "Arr, arr, arr," and that's how most people are. They grab a cabinet door and the cabinet hinges are loose because they hang on the thing like a fucking monkey. You know, you swing the cabinet door open, you have to pull fucking down on it as you're opening it, you know? Yeah, well, anyway, I get on a tirade about stupid people who improperly use the world around them. Get a clue, people, right? Most things are set up ergonomically, designed for people to use properly. You know, uh, uh, most people don't have any sense of logic, right? You got to explain to people how to turn a fucking light switch on. That's how fucking dumb people are. 95%. I'm saying. That's a big chunk, but you look at the amount of people we have on this fucked up planet, and that's nothing. 95%. That still leaves a pretty good, chunk of humanity that's got their act together. And out of that 95%, we're probably talking half completely fucking shot morons, right? We'll just do anything they're told, and we'll believe anything they're told to believe. And then are easily pointed in any direction to go be some kind of fucking minion, right? To some higher authority. Oh yeah. Yes, sir. Butter. So I got some things in the mail yesterday. I got my HDMI couplers, little tiny widgets where you can hook the cables together, and that's pretty cool. Of course, I've got to run through and test all of them and make sure that each one of them is working. Last night we had issues with plugging in some cameras, and one camera was just kind of flashing. I don't even recall how we fixed the issue. We unplugged and plugged in a few things, switched a few things around, and that seemed to do it. So I have to track down issues. I got to do a fucking checklist. One of the things that showed up was this one here, and it's just another adapter, another cable thingy. Uh, and let's see. Oh, Bubber. Come on, Bubber. Dude, stop saying Bubber. It's Bubba, man. Bubba Man? Yo, Bubba Man. Hubba Bubba. Anybody remember Hubba Bubba Bubble Gum or Bubble Yum? Is that stuff still around? I don't know. I don't chew gum, so I just don't know, baby. Okay, here we go. So this is my little adapter. Now I can plug my Ethernet from my audio video mixer into this and then plug this into the laptop so that when I go live, it'll be going live from my mixer through my computer, but that will free up my computer so that I can play my graphics through the one computer, which will hopefully allow me to do this in the morning with just one computer, one mic, and some graphics running. So we'll have to figure that out. Uh, Also, I need to find that software that's going to allow me to bring in some more cameras with just my laptop. Yes, it's still around. Oh, okay, cool. Because I don't chew bubble gum anymore. I haven't chewed bubble gum in like for like years. Um, I've got a couple of caps over some broken teeth, and the gum always stuck to those. So I never liked chewing bubble gum. On occasion, I will chew like dentine or something like. Is dentine still around? Because there's a gum that I used to like, or Wrigley's Spearmint. Um, I don't get into the newfangled stuff because it's got a lot of that stuff that gives me heartburn. Right? It's always feels like I'm smoking a menthol cigarette most of the time when I'm chewing on that stuff. Yeah, little adapter, little wiggles, little pigtail. So yeah, I've got a lot of things to get together before next week's live show. Uh, so last night I got home and I got home after 10, right? Wow. And then after that, I had to go through the van and grab the computer bag and find this microphone and its cable and my headphones and all of the little stuff to hook up the camera for this morning show. Pardon me, because that cabinet that I built is not leaving that van unless I got to do something with it. It's going to stay in that van uh, for the run of this live stuff and I might at some point park that cabinet locked up and chained in the back room over there at the Giant Rock meeting room so that I don't have to go back and forth. I can just wheel it into a corner, set up my stuff, plug everything in and go and then break everything down, wheel it into a corner, take a few important things home with me, and then do my weekly show. But I mean, to have everything set up there so that I can just leave it and just have kind of cables and peripherals and stuff there, but nothing major, no cameras, no mics, no important stuff, just pretty much a box with a TV and a bunch of cables, right? And then all I got to do is just laptop harness, audio harness, video harness, and I'm ready to freaking go. Boom, plug in my cameras, and then kind of have the same thing set up at home. I have a couple of USB cameras and a program for mixing them on the computer, um, so that I can get away with a smaller setup at home. I will be setting up big to do stuff at home when I do a Friday Night Live, or if I'm going to create some kind of video content here. Then I'm going to want, a bunch of shit set up in here. Um, but, you know, my first vision was to have a unit that I could easily transport between the house and the van, and then between the van and wherever the location was. And that's not going to turn out that way. The the cabinet is too heavy. I had to transport it and put it into the van with all the electronics out of it mostly because it was just so heavy. So it's not going to leave the van. It's going to stay in the van. Uh, and the only major electronic component that's going to remain in it while it's in the van during the day is going to be that TV that's built into it. Everything else is just going to come back and forth. I like those plastic dish tubs, right? Big, you know, giant handles, um, and maybe a couple of tubs with lids so that I can pack my gear and take it out there and slide it into the compartments where it's supposed to go, and then go on the road and then have everything right there. Uh, and then be able to just bring my stuff back in here and set it down safe, out of the heat, out of the car. Yeah. So today's going to be my checklist day, and the rest of the week I'll be creating graphics for the show, working out my checklist, checking my equipment, labeling my equipment, creating a path for cables. I think I'm going to change the location of the van so that I'm within 25 feet of every camera. So that means within my furthest camera will be, you know, way less than 50 feet. So I can use a 50-foot cable for the furthest camera and a couple of 25-footers for the other cameras, and only have to do, one extension cable per camera, and that'll cut down on issues with putting stuff up. Get a few more clips, a few of those little 99-cent clips, big metal clips. Those are great. They go right up over a 2x4, and my wires hang through their floppy. So yeah, those are going to come in handy. Those little clip-on lights with the little silver aluminum shield around it. Those are neat, and that really helped. That gave us some good light compared to the previous night when I did my phone recording. Oh, last swaller. Yeah. But I think getting a permanent path set up for cables. And then, Linus, of course, said that he's just going to do it. He's just going to get us a better internet access, which means if I can get a really strong Wi-Fi, then I won't have to hotspot off of my phone. I can just Wi-Fi from this computer here, which means that frees up my Ethernet cable port, USB-C, with this little thingy here now, so that I can run my Blackmagic mixer into that. right? Which still frees up my secondary computer for graphics and video and stuff. And then once I Ethernet into this, uh, it's going to allow me to record my shows that I'm broadcasting live. All right, brother, you have a good night sleeping today. um, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out, brother. Take it easy, Joey. Uh, but yeah, if I can get my main thing is going to be a checklist. I got to get that checklist. I got to do it. Peace, brother. Um, so it's gonna. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to do like a dry run maybe, and write a uh, rough draft of the checklist, and then actually run through the checklist, and then add to that, and then create um, a usable checklist from beginning to end, and then a checklist of breaking down everything and packing it back up. Because the music equipment was probably the easiest thing to unload, set up, and break down and pack. So the whole back, you open up the back door of the van, and it's my drum kit, small pieces down here, all the drums up here, covered in a nice cozy blanket. And then the keyboards I just threw in there on the couch in the back of the van because it's not going to be there while I'm there. So it's in a safe spot. And then the guitars in their cases just slide in. So music stuff was really easy. It's the video stuff that got just out of control. It needs to be one bag for all of the video stuff, and then one case that has all of the cameras that are used for live and all of their peripheral cables and connections, right? Uh, and then I need a spot for tripods. I'm going to wind up with at least 3 or more tripods for live, 3 for cameras. And then at some point, I'll get into microphone stands for, external audio stuff for like acoustic mixing. Um, but yeah, checklist. Chex Mix. Warm, toasty Chex Mix. Gosh, that sounds good. Yeah, when I grew up, you'd go over to somebody's house or over to some of my family's house or something, and they were always living just like just like I saw it on TV, you know. And even my friends that were kind of weird and had weird kind of home lives like me, uh, they always had this TV like home life, you know. At least to me, it seemed like that because I had such a um, kind of like a non-existent home life. I mean, it was there were periods of my childhood growing up where for short periods of time we felt like a family and we had a household and a house and we did things like other people did, but it was very rare. Um, so I would always trip out on being over at somebody's house and watching how they lived their lives, right? And they would have these things going on and doing these things. It was like, wow, I saw that on a commercial, or oh, I saw the Brady's do that. It was just stupid shit, but still, I always felt like uh, going to my friend's house sometimes felt like watching an episode of their life, right? The way the my friends would be really, really cool and they'd be the shit, and then they'd get home and they're like, "Oh, mom, come on, oh." You'd see your friends crying and shit to their parents, and it's like, "Oh my god, really?" And we're like in our teens, you know, 16, 17 years old, and you go over to somebody's house and they cry to their parents because they're not they don't give them $10 or $5 or something, or tell them they have to be home early, you know. Uh, that always just felt so bizarre and surreal. Uh, yeah, wow. I tried to not have those experiences um, for my daughter. I never wanted her to think, oh my God, this is like a horror movie, you know, because I lived a lot of horror movies growing up. Uh, you know, a lot of weird shit, a lot of scary shit. Uh, Being a kid and being afraid, of your family and your parents and whatever scenario they might get you into. I mean, that's just a horrible way to live, being afraid of what your parents might do. So I never wanted that for my daughter. I wanted her to have a kind of a stress-free environment to grow up in. So I never pushed her into any bullshit. I never forced her into any bullshit, you know, and I never, went out of my way to create scenarios in her life that were going to uh, scar her. In fact, she had such a kind of a bland growing up that if you ask her about her early years, she's like, I don't remember. I don't remember that. I don't remember this. I don't remember that. You know, and mainly because, you know, I was on antidepressants early in her life, which was fucked. So rather than having, happy and sad and happy, I just said like, yeah, everything's great. Everything's just fine. So, I mean, she probably picked up on a lot of that and had kind of an emotionless early few years, right? At least her early memory years, 4 or 5, that kind of stuff, where I was just, "Bleh, that's no way to live, you know. And I was like, that's no way to be a father either, being completely disconnected emotionally from everything around you. I don't remember a lot of those her early years because I was emotionally disconnected. And if you don't have emotions attached to a memory, you don't fucking remember it. That's it. Uh, I remember a lot of shit because I have a lot of emotions, conflicted emotions about a lot of different shit growing up. So I remember a lot of these things. You know, she didn't get a lot of bullshit to have to remember. You know, um, so she's got a bunch of handful of little good memories. That we can cobble together. But that was it. I don't think she really had a rough childhood. We moved around a lot early on, and we've been poverty stricken most of the time, but she's never had to want for anything. Yeah. So, Natalie, when you watch this, I love you, dear. And my coffee's gone. Make daddy some coffee. Yeah. Arg. So that's right. I was going to do a bong hit here because it's bong hit 6:44. It's when we do bong hits. Gotta do it 6:45. Gotta be ready to do it 6:45. So yeah, I say that a lot. Like, so you like, so what's up? So born and raised in Southern California, people. Born and raised. I was born in Los Angeles, LA General. Um, yeah. Last night, some of the guys there at the show were talking about growing up in Covina and up there in Azusa Avenue and that kind of stuff, which is right up there where my father grew up. They came out from Chicago when he was a little kid, so he spent his teen, his formative years in that area, Azusa, Covina, um, Mount Baldy, Baldwin Park, in that area there. Yeah, yeah. So I heard stories, about him going to high school there and being a gymnast and being in a car club and having a '56 Mercury and uh, you know doing all that kind of stuff. Doing all that kind of stuff, jamming my mother's surfboard into the back, through the trunk, into the back seat, going to the beach. Yeah. Of course, when I was a teen, going to high school and stuff, I wasn't in a car club. Went to the beach a lot, but I wasn't into cars, man. I just wasn't. I mean, that was like really, it was a '50s thing, right? Guys from the '50s, guys from that era, kind of hung on. You know, I was never into cars. I remember when he was in his 20s I think he was doing an art class at Pasadena City College, and he drew this great car. It's just this great hot rod, right? And I was amazed because this is my dad, and he never really showed anything artistic other than being a DJ on the radio, right? And doing some writing. Um, but before then, I'd never really, granted, I was only 5 or 6 years old, but I never thought of him as being an artistic person. Um, Even later on in the '70s and '80s, when he was doing video and stuff and writing and doing things, I never felt artist. I felt like he was a guy doing a project, you know, that was required of him. Video, audio, writing stuff, producing stuff, being on stage, on camera, doing that kind of stuff. I never got, I never felt like he was 100% committed, like he was an artist. Like this is I think had he been, he would have stayed with it, right? I think he was just kind of, he'd find something to get into and then kind of flake out, and then find something else to get into and then kind of flake out. And so I probably learned that because I have done that a lot of my life, where I really just get into something and then it's like, all right, I'm done with that, and then go on to something else. And I did that with 8 tracks and um, you know, playing the guitar when I was young. I would play the guitar and then I just set it aside. And I play the guitar and then I would just leave it alone. And it got to the point where I set my guitar down for 10 years, didn't pick it up, play it. Uh, but through my whole life, I've always considered myself an artist, because I do things more for me than for anyone else. You know, I do it to please me. I create to make me happy. And then when I share it with people and it makes them happy, then my happiness is magnified, right? So no matter what I do, if I'm doing it for me, then it pretty much pays for itself, no matter what I have to put into it, no matter how much of myself, no matter how much money or how much time, it's going to ultimately, it pays for itself, uh, by way of whatever art comes out of it. And at some point when I'll do some episodes. I want to get into more episodes and segments, um, which is why I think I'm just going to keep this whole morning show as simple as possible. And rather than introduce segments into the morning show, after the morning show, work on creating segments for the channel. and I may do a 1 day a week where I go to a location, I set up live, and I do a segmented live program where it's like, okay, today I'm gonna show you my new episodes of this, and this, and we'll watch them together, and then we can talk about it. And if everybody's got any comments, then we'll go there. If not, we'll move on and the show's over. And now after a week, I'll come back, I'll do another show, and then the previous week's episodes will be segmented and uploaded separately. So you can watch the whole show or just individual segments. And I think that on like a Sunday would be a better use of segments and video episodes during a live broadcast. So rather than try to, uh, take the show the way it is and keep fluffing it up, uh, I think it has evolved to where it needs to be, right? And it needs to be a basic show. Me and a camera or two, and on occasion something else, right? But I you know, I can fill 2 or 3 hours, especially on those days when I really have something to talk about. And if not, then I'll find some kind of story that'll help fill the gap, right? And usually, when I'm talking uh, about something, it'll lead me into another area, and then another and another. Or if I've got somebody like Joey on where we're going to talk about something, he'll make a comment, and that's going to send me off to talk about something else, another part of my life, another period. Uh, so I don't think this show needs to change much. In fact, at some point, what I'd like to do is get, uh, what do you call it? Become a unicorn, a Chromebook, right? And do my morning stuff on a Chromebook that just has a camera and a microphone and is devoted to that morning on YouTube. And that's it. That's it. And then at some point be able to, and show some pictures, right? I think audio and video is a reach right now. Um, but if I can hone the morning show to just a podcast, video blog thing like this, where we just sit together and do coffee and bong hits and talk shit, I think that's the better use of this time, so that I can go from here right into creating video content, and then have everything easily moved to the mobile, the MLU, which is what the van is going to now become. The van is going to become my mobile uh, van, basically. I mean, it's right now it's dressed up for 2 or 3 people to sit in the back and be live, and for me to be able to set up 3 cameras, 4 cameras, graphics, everything in the van wherever I go. And as soon as I can get the Wi-Fi, the little nodes for the camera to the mixer, it's going to free me up to do so much more. I could put a camera in somebody's hand and send them off, right, with a couple of cameras on tripods, and then just sit in the van and mix, and set up some kind of audio that is, uh, those little microphones on the cameras, I think are gonna really help. But I want to set up some kind of sound that I can switch from camera to camera and the sound remains the same, but I don't have any wires and I don't have any bullshit. And I think as soon as I switch to some kind of Bluetooth and digital stuff, I can cut down from the audio mixer and just go to the audio video mixer and just have one unit, and that's going to help. And then maybe have my microphones come through an effects unit so I can give myself sustain, echo, reverb, and a few sound effects. That'd be neat. And then be able to have a microphone in the van that I can switch on and off, as well as have the audio feed coming in from whatever live event we're at. Sheesh. So, checklist. And then the neat thing about this smaller setup with the microphone and the one camera and the extension cords that I can pretty much put anywhere is I should be able to set this show up in the mornings in slightly different places too. So rather than have a bunch of cameras set up shooting me in one spot from different angles, maybe each morning I'll just set up in a slightly different spot. Set up over on that side of the room, this side of the room, in the middle of the room, on that in the green room over there. Maybe set up at the desk with a typewriter. Set up with a chair and a lamp and a book. But yeah, I think we're going to simplify the morning show so that we can exaggerate our live ongoings, our live mobile stuff. And so that this is easy to set up, easy to break down, put back in the van. When I'm doing video editing, all I need is an external hard drive, a way to bring in stuff from the other devices, you know, and a mouse and a keyboard. That's it. I don't need any other bullshit. I just need, to sit here at this and work. Uh, it's nice to have a big screen and be to doing all of this and all of that, all the hoopla and everything. But when it comes right down to it, uh, I don't need all that fanfare. I just need the machine and my brain, right? So yeah, simplification, Spartanism, keep it basic because the live is not basic. So if my home morning show is simple, then it's simple to set up. This was really simple to set up. I was on in 5 minutes this morning, ready to go. Um, yeah. So I'm happy with that. I can easily go from this to working on videos. Basically, get rid of the webcam and the microphone and plug in some memory and keyboard, and I'm ready to go. If I can have a mouse and a keyboard, then I can get around the computer a little easier. And then the most important thing is that setting up the live is going to be easier. So that Morongo Day is just coming up this weekend. And it's 2 days of live music in Morongo Valley, just 25 minutes down the road from here on Highway 62. Highway 62 is just off the 10, just east past the 111 that takes you into Palm Springs. So if you're coming out here from LA, you just come on the 10 all the way out here. And when you get to the exit that takes you to Palm Springs, Just go a little bit further, take Highway 62 out east, and you're in Morongo Valley. And they've got a great park there with lots of trees and grass and shade, and it's a wonderful place to spend any day, let alone a weekend with live music all day and night for 2 days. And Saturday at just after 9 p.m., the Tommy Tom Show will be playing, one of my favorite local groups, father and daughter, and they rock. They kill it. Both phenomenal musicians and artists. Uh, so yeah, if you get a chance, come on out. I'm gonna try to make it out there, if for nothing else, to see the Tommy Tom Show. Right. I think David should be back by then. He's supposed to be coming back by Saturday, I think. Not not sure that he's gonna make it. I wonder if he went out of LAX or out of Palm Springs this time. I'd have just gone out no matter where you go. Why not just go out of Palm Springs? It's an international airport. I mean, you can get anywhere. I would screw LAX. Why go to LA if you can go right here, right? Totally. In fact, I shall have to remember to tell Joey that next time he needs to just fly out here, right? And then, it's real easy for us to run down and pick him up. Bada bing bang boom. Yo. In fact, any of my friends that are thinking about coming over and oh, my stomach, saying hi and hanging out for a couple of days. Yeah, don't ever hesitate to give me a call and try to set something up. You know, I can find you a place to stay, if not for free, for really cheap. Okay. Uh, and like I said, we're within like 45 minutes of the airport out here, uh, Palm Springs International. So there's that. So you don't even really need to worry about a car, especially once you get out here. Uh, there's a rental place out here where you could rent a car out here in Yucca Valley. Uh, but if you're coming out and you're just going to stay right in town, I mean, shoot, you can do everything on your feet. Literally everything is within walking distance out here, unless you're going to go out and do any heavy sightseeing. And if that's the case, if you're coming out here to visit, I'll take you sightseeing. I'll take you and show you whatever you want to see, man. You know, spend a day at the Joshua Tree Park, or spend a day driving around checking out all the weirdness. You know, come out here on a weekend when there's the 62 Arts Tour, and you can rent a car and drive around for a couple of days and just check out all of the different art studios from the artists out here, and you get like over 200, and you get over 200 artists on this list, and almost 200 locations, and sometimes 6 artists at one location. So you really get your fill of art, all kinds of art, you know, outsider art, trash art, ceramics, um, painting, oil painting, acrylic, sand painting. I mean, you name it, somebody's out here doing it. Digital photography. I mean, it's just so freaking awesome. That was one of the things that I really fell in love with out here when we moved out here. I didn't know anything about this area. We got out here, and for the first few years, it was like I was just putting my head down, going to work, coming home, and going boohoo. And then I got injured, and then I came home, and I just sat at home for a couple of years, going boohoo, right, taking pills and trying to escape pain, sleeping a lot, pain and depression, pain and depression. And I thought, you know what, I can't work. I'm never going to get my surgery. So give me whatever money's left. And I just went back to school. I just went to the college out here. Bought a little tiny car, went to the college. And that's when I found the art community, right? And I was like, wow, there's this out here. I didn't know. I just thought it was a desert. I didn't know that there was so much going on. And since then, 2013, right? When I was going to college here. Uh, I've found so much more than just that. The people, the places, the establishments, the little companies, the venues, the musicians, the offbeat kind of happenings. It's just, wow. It has just, uh, and now that I've opened myself up to new experiences every single day, even if I don't leave the house, every single day is a new thing. Before it was the same thing every day, right? And uh, and now even when I do the morning show, even if it's the same show every day, it still feels different. It still is different. I may hit on a lot of the similar things uh, a lot, quite frequently, but I would like to think that I don't dwell on things that I'm all over the place. You know, and it makes this fun. Yeah, but I don't think I'm going to be on for too much longer today. I know I say that all the time. Uh, because, like I said, I am really wiped out. I don't know what is planned for today. I know that I should probably crawl into bed for a couple of hours and then clean up the van. I'm going to have to get a couple of bags. I'll just dig them up out of my shed and say, okay, this bag is these cables, you know, and this bag are these cables, and then just try to do it that way. I'd rather have one bag with compartments, HDMI, um, audio, you know. I might get a case, one of those get hard case with soft packing stuff inside so that I can pack all of my cameras into one case, um, so that I can take them in and out of the van and bring them in the house or pull them out, set them up, and have a safe place for them to go. Uh, when I'm in the van, working strictly out of the van, I'd like to have everything in the drawers because that's what the drawers are for. I think the drawers are going to mainly wind up junk drawers. They're going to wind up drawers for cables, peripheral stuff, extra microphones, extra this, extra that. Uh, and I think the main bulk of the important gear is really going to have to be packed into small cases that go back and forth so that I don't leave important stuff in the van overnight or especially during the day. That's a real bummer. Um, Now, I'm not worried about that cabinet being in the van all the time. It's got a TV built into it, but and it ain't moving. It's strapped down. I've got four tie downs, strapping it, holding it in the van where it's supposed to be. So I'm not worried about somebody, breaking in and walking off with it. And if they go in there, um, all they're going to come out with are cables, right? If you need a USB cable, sure, break into my van. Um, and then, stupid stuff, music stand, cymbals and that kind of crap. But the important stuff will come in every day into the green room here where everything gets prepped. My green room is my prop department. It's where I put my cameras. It's where I sit with guests who come over. Unless we're going to be on camera, then we're over here. But if we're not going to be on camera, it's like, let's sit over there because then we're facing this. And now we're looking at the set, right? And then if they want to get up and walk around the set, hang out, they can enjoy it, you know. So, yeah, I'm really I'm really getting into this video thing. I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's just if I wasn't having fun, I wouldn't be doing it. You know, some days it is daunting. It is a job. It feels like it feels like I should be getting paid. But for the most part, even when I have technical difficulties, it's like somebody at Wall Street, working the stock market, and just buy, sell, I love this job. It is. I just, I really get off on having to figure these things out because when I do get it figured out, it's like it's such a kick in the ass. It's like, yeah, I did that. You know, I worked it out. So I have no doubt this sound issue will be dealt with. I have no doubt that next week we'll have maybe 3 cameras. We'll have some graphics. We'll have kick-ass sound. It'll be awesome. You know, this last night's show was a blast. It was fun. We got screwed out of the sound over a mistake, but hey, things happen. It's live. What are you going to do? I had to use my phone as a mobile hotspot, so I couldn't use my phone to get onto YouTube and check my sound and stuff and video, which was a real bummer because that's what I like my phone for, is to double check my stuff. I could have logged on to the other computer or logged onto the phone to check my YouTube stuff while I was using it as a hotspot, but I couldn't risk interfering with the speed, right? So I just left it alone. I had someone else check, but I don't think we were listening to it long enough to realize there was an issue. So sound check, checklist, video checklist, uh, yeah. And once I can plug in to the internet or have a direct Wi-Fi, dedicated Wi-Fi signal, I think, that's just going to free up all of my other peripheral electronic things um, to add more to the show, right? Yeah, I can't wait to get the Black Magic Ethernet cabled into my computer here, and then Wi-Fi'd up to the internet, because then uh, this unit here is going to have direct connection, and that'll free up the computer here to do some graphics, to key up some stuff over the screen, a screen overlay. Once I get there, it's going to add another element to the live show. Um, yeah. But anyway, like I said, I'm going to be wrapping it up here pretty quick. In fact, I will say good night, good morning, and good afternoon, good evening, and good night. And, come back and join me tomorrow morning, and we'll do some more of this. Today, I'm going to be working on getting everything squared away and visiting the dentist. And then after that, I'm going to be taking it easy the rest of the night. And tomorrow, probably meeting up with Bush and getting some graphics done, and maybe going somewhere by Thursday or Friday and doing some live testing with my checklist, right? And see what I can come up with. All right, so people, thank you so much for coming by. Peace, love. You stay weird, and I will see you tomorrow. All right. Take it easy, people. Love y'all. Bye.